Best Western made booking our family beach vacation a breeze, and it felt a little like... Time to go. Okay, kids, back in the room.
You gotta come on, guys. This has to be like...
Good night. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
Hello, and welcome back to the Curious Kid Podcast. I have to admit that some of our topics are a bit more fun than others. Some of the topics we've covered are downright gross, like garbage and throwing up.
Well, this week's topic is going to be a real head-scratcher.
You got that right. Before we get grossed out by this week's topic, we have a big thank you to make.
Thanks to our newest patron, Leah L.
A big thanks to Leah for supporting the podcast. It means so much to us. Not only was Leah awesome enough to be our newest patron, but we also received an email from her daughter Nora this week. Mailbag! Hello, my name is Nora. I'm curious about how trees grow from seeds. I listen to your podcast in the morning during my music time. Thank you for your shows. Nora.
Thanks so much for the email, Nora.
It was so nice for you to reach out to us. We covered trees all the way back in episode 32, but we never really went into detail on how seeds turn into trees. So at the end of this episode, we will answer Nora's question. But before we do that, we have a fun but gross topic to cover.
This week we are getting curious about head lice.
Yuck! I'm a pharmacist and I worked in a retail pharmacy setting for about 10 years. And occasionally, a customer would ask me about head lice and how to treat it. I would gladly answer the question, and then I would find myself scratching my head for the rest of the day. It's as if just hearing about them is enough to get people scratching their heads. Let's learn more about head lice. Olivia, what's the question of the week?
The question of the week is, could you pass your head lice to your pet?
I wonder what the answer is. Can you give head lice to your pet? While you're thinking about the answer, let's tell you what head lice is.
Head lice is a parasitic insect.
So you may be wondering what the word parasitic means. It is used to describe a parasite. And a parasite is a living thing that benefits by taking nutrients from another living thing and causing it harm. The name of the living thing that is doing the harm is called the parasite, and the name of the living thing that is being harmed is called the host.
It's nice to be a host when you invite your friends over.
Yeah, that's another example of a host. This is kind of like the same thing, but you don't want these particular guests coming over because having head lice is no fun.
So what is the nutrient that head lice taste from humans?
They suck blood from humans.
Wait, what? They suck blood?
They do, and that's just the start of it. They bite the skin about 4 or 5 times a day to feed. When they do this, they inject some of their saliva into you, and their saliva is an anticoagulant, which means that it is able to make your blood thinner.
Thinner blood is easier for them to suck.
This whole thing is gross. And then, to add insult to injury, the blood that they digest is then excreted back onto your head.
What does that mean?
It means that they poop the blood back onto your head.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, having head lice is no fun, but there is a silver lining. It doesn't hurt at all. When people have head lice, they complain that their head is very itchy, but the whole process isn't painful at all. They also can't jump or fly, so head-to-head contact is the most common way to spread head lice.
More good news is that they don't spread diseases.
That's right. Other parasites, like the mosquito, for example, can possibly spread disease. Well, head lice doesn't do that.
Is head lice common?
It is, Between 6 and 12 million people get head lice in the United States every year, and it is most common in children that go to school. It is usually passed from person to person if one person has it and then comes into close contact with the other person and gives it to them. It can also be passed along indirectly.
Like if people share their clothes, comb, or hat.
That's right. So if you use the comb or hat of someone who has head lice, there is a chance you will pass the head lice along to yourself.
What does head lice look like?
Okay, when someone examines your head to see if you have lice, they usually find something called nits.
Nits are the eggs that the lice lay.
And those nits can be found along the base of the hair shaft. About a week or so after laying nits, they hatch into tiny, immature lice. Another week or two, and a bunch of meals later, those tiny lice, which are called nymphs, mature into adults. Adult lice are about the size of a sesame seed.
Female lice can lay as many as 10 nits per day.
That means that a small head lice problem could quickly become a big problem if it's not detected and treated.
Where in your hair do lice like to live?
They can be anywhere along the scalp, but they do have favorite areas. Lice enjoy the nape of the neck, which is where the back of your neck and hair meet, and they like to live behind your ears.
Head lice don't like light, and they usually look for a dark place to hide.
And they need to be on someone's head to survive. Lice can only survive for about 2 days if they fall off of somebody's head and end up on something like a pillowcase.
What do you do if you think you have head lice?
If you think you have head lice, your hair needs to be examined. There are special metal combs called nit combs that are great for spotting head lice. Don't forget to check those favorite areas, the back of the neck and behind the ears. You can remove them using your fingernails, although they will be hard to remove. Have you ever wondered where the word nitpicking comes from? Well, this is it. Literally, nitpicking means removing the nits from your hair. It has turned into a metaphor to describe someone who is really trying hard to find small and meaningless errors, the way you would need to try really hard to remove nits. Getting nits out of someone's hair is a slow and tedious process.
That's because the lice make glue to help them stick to you.
Exactly. So it's going to require some effort to get rid of them. Many people just shave their heads when lice is discovered just to make sure they get rid of them all.
There are also medicines you could use to get rid of lice.
And those medicines are conveniently available over the counter. If you are looking for one of those meds, make sure that it is a pediculicide, which is a fancy word for medicine that kills lice. The most common ingredients to look for are permethrin and pyrethrins.
You also don't want to forget to clean the person's belongings.
That's very true. Stuff like hats, scarves, bandanas, bedding, clothing, pillowcases, towels, anything like that was used within a few days of treatment needs to be washed in hot water for a few minutes and then dried on a hot air cycle.
Combs and brushes also need to be cleaned in hot water.
And don't forget to give a thorough clean to the person's room and any other room that the person has recently spent time in.
And all family members should be checked too, just in case.
Absolutely. You don't want to forget that. It is common to spread lice to other family members, so check everyone that lives in the house for lice. Okay, let's answer the question of the week. Do you need to check your pets for head lice?
Nope, cats, dogs, and all other animals are actually immune from head lice.
That's really bizarre, but it's also great news. Before we wrap this episode up and put a bow on it, let's answer Leah's question and find out how a tiny seed can turn into a beautiful tree.
Trees drop seeds onto the ground all the time.
One tree can produce thousands of seeds. Those seeds have everything needed to produce another tree.
Lots of those seeds don't become trees, though.
That's because they may fall in a spot that doesn't support a tree. For example, there may not be enough sunlight for a tree to grow.
or the seeds may become a snack for the insects.
But every once in a while, the conditions will be perfect for a tree to grow. Each seed contains an embryo, which is a bunch of cells that are able to form roots, a stem, and leaves. Once the embryo is full of water, the cells grow in a process called germination.
The seed grows a root to get water from underground.
And it grows a stem that grows upward.
And it grows leaves to get nutrients for the tree.
And the tree will continue to grow as long as it stays alive.
Thanks for the question, Nora.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast number 92 on head lice.
Great job, Olivia. Don't go anywhere because we are about to reveal the third letter in the secret code for our Season 4 finale giveaway. Make sure you listen to the end of each episode to get the 12-letter code. Once you have the code, send us an email with the code for a chance to win some awesome stuff.
This week's letter is P as in pancakes.
That's P as in pancakes. One more thing to do before we end the fun. Let's reveal another city that supports Curious Kid Podcast in a big way.
Thank you, Portland, Oregon.
We love you, Portland. If you are from the City of Roses, send us an email to CuriousKidPodcast@gmail.com with a picture to show your Portland pride. If you do, we will give you access to an upcoming episode before anyone else gets to hear it. One of you will even get something awesome from the podcast in the mail. Come back next week for a listener suggestion episode. If you want to interact with us before then, follow us on social media and say hi. You can also go back and listen to any episodes you may have missed. Olivia was 4 years old when we started this podcast. Now she's 6, and we are just 8 episodes away from number 100. What a fun journey. As always, thank you so much for listening and getting curious with us.
Best Western made booking our family beach vacation a breeze, and it felt a little like... Time to go. Okay, kids, back in the room.
You gotta come on, guys. This has to be like...
Good night. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries, plus napkins, plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.